Let's look at the concept of percentage change. So a change can be either an increase or a decrease. Now when a quantity changes, it's either increased or decreased. So what we want to do is compare the increase to the original to give us a fraction that we can convert to a percentage. So you'll see here, if we put the increase as the numerator and the original value as the denominator, we've got our fraction, and we change that to a percent by multiplying by 100. So in this example, let's find the percentage increase when a $50 pair of shoes is sold for $65. So the first thing we notice is that the price has increased from 50 to 65. So we're going to compare that increase, which is $15, to the original price of $50. So I write 15 divided by 50 and I times by 100%. Now we can see that there's some cancelling that has occurred there. The 50 went into the 100 twice, and so we're left with 15 times 2, or 30, over 1. So that's a 30% increase. Now an alternative method is to compare the new price to the old price. So instead of just looking at the increase, we're going to just say, what is it now, what was it before? And this is actually the preferred method. So if we take the new price and divide by the old price to find the fraction, we'd be taking 65 divided by 50. Now when we multiply that by 100%, we get 130%. So this tells us that the original price is equivalent to 100%. That original price of 100% has risen by 30%. In this next example, we're going to find the percentage discount when a $40,000 car is sold for $35,000. Now, this means the price has decreased, so the new price is the $35,000, and that should be placed on top of the $40,000. We then multiply that by 100%, and we get 0.875 times 100%, which gives us 87.5%. Now this time we see that the price is 12.5% below the original 100% price. How do we know that? Well, let's look at 87.5. It started at 100% and the price has come down. It's now 87.5%. So the difference between those, 100 minus 87.5%, gives us 12.5%. So that's the percentage discount. The great thing about percentages is they allow us to make fair comparisons between two different things. For example, we've all seen weight loss competitions on TV with The Biggest Loser, for example. Let's imagine we wanted to compare the weight loss of two people in a weight loss competition. So we've got Tyson, who lost 15 kilograms during the competition, while Eileen only loses 12 kilograms. Now Tyson now weighs 105 kilograms and Eileen originally weighed 90. So we have to look at that information to decide what was the original weight of each person and what is the new weight. That way we're now going to look at who had the greatest percentage weight loss. In this case, we're going to give our answers to one decimal place. So for Tyson, the new weight over the old weight is going to be 105 over 120 times 100%. So how do we get those figures? Well, it says in the question that he now weighs 105 kilograms, so that's his new weight. So the new weight, which goes on top, is 105. Now, it also says that he loses 15. So if his weight is now 105 and he lost 15, he must have weighed 120 to start with. So we take the new weight of 105, compare it to the old weight of 120, and we convert that fraction into a percentage by timesing by 100, and we get 87.5%. Okay, that's just a coincidence. That's the same as the answer that we got back here with our other question. So we know again that this represents a loss of 12.5% of Tyson's weight. Let's have a look at Eileen now. Her new weight over her old weight is going to be 78 over 90 times 100%. Now again, how did we get that? Well, in the question it says she originally weighed 90, so that's the old weight, and she's lost 12 kilograms, so her new weight must be 90 take away 12, or 78. So we take her new weight of 78, divide by her old weight of 90, and times by 100%, and we get 86.7%. That represents a loss of 13.3%, because remember, we're always relating back to her original weight as being 100%. It's gone from 100 down to 86.7. How much is that a loss of? It's 13.3%. In this example, we have a company has just announced a profit of $4,000, which is 25% higher than last year. What was last year's profit? Okay, we know that the profit has gone up by 25%. So if it's gone up from its original price, and we call the original price 100%, that means we need to write 1.25 as the multiplier. Last year times 1.25 will give us this year's price of 4,000. So essentially, when we multiply a number by 1, it doesn't change, because that's 100%. 1 is the same as 100%. But because the profit is increased by 25%, we need to multiply by the additional 0.25. So last year's profit, if we multiplied it by 1.25, that would give us this year's profit, which represents the 25% increase. Now, to find out what last year's profit is, we have an equation here. So we can divide both sides by 1.25, and in that way we'll find that last year's profit is equal to $3,200. Let's just briefly talk about the GST. So currently the Australian government collects a 10% tax on most goods and services in Australia. So after tax, the price of something is the pre-GST price times 1.10. So where do I get the 1.10? Right before the GST is added, the price has to be multiplied by 1. That will just make it the same price, but in addition we need to increase it by 10%. So that's where the 0.10 comes in. Let's have a look at an example. Frank's business wants to work out how much to charge for a job. That job cost $510 before GST. So the after-tax price is going to be equal to the original price of $510. Now we want to increase that price by 10%, so we're going to times it by 1 and 0.10, which is our 10%. And that's going to give us $561. Now let's say we want to work backwards and we have a customer that pays $80 for petrol in Australia. What is the pre-GST price? So this $80 represents the price after the GST has been added. So we can use the same equation as before and say the pre-GST price multiplied by 1.10 will give us the price after GST has been added. So the 80 incorporates the pre-GST price as well as the extra 10%. Again, we have an equation and we can divide both sides, in this case, by 1.10. In that case, we get the pre-GST price as 80 divided by 1.10, which is $72.73. And that's where we'll leave it.